Does melon go with pork? Typically, I think of melon as something that's served on a fruit tray, maybe it's something that's served on the side. So when I saw tonight's recipe and I saw that it is serving melon as a main accoutrement to pork, I knew I had to try it. Tonight on Caleb Eats, we're going to be making a chili rubbed pork tenderloin with a cucumber and melon salad on the side. Honestly, I think it's gonna be pretty good. I imagine that the spice and the richness of the tenderloin is going to go really well with the crisp sweetness of the salad. So, but the question remains, does melon belong with pork? We're about to find out. Before we begin, a little bit of attribution. Today's recipe comes from Milk Street Tuesday Dinners by Christopher Kimball. This is honestly one of my favorite cookbooks right now. I'm using it a lot, and it's yet to let me down. So let's cook. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to turn our oven to 450 degrees. When we're cooking this pork, we're going to do it in two different stages. We're going to sear it, then we're going to bake it. So we just want to make sure that that oven is nice and hot for when we are going to bake it. Let's start with the tenderloin because we do have to let it sit for a second. But first, where does tenderloin come from? To demonstrate, I have my little Fred piggy here. So we have a pig, like so. You have your shoulder, you have your leg. This top part right along the back, right along the spine is going to be the loin. And so that's going to cover everything from the ribs, which is going to be about to here. And then a little bit further back is going to be the tenderloin. And in particular, that tenderloin is going to be right under the spine. So it's probably right about here. And the reason it is called the tenderloin is because since it's in this area back here, it doesn't really get a lot of use. And so the muscle is able to stay nice and tender. So let's prepare some tenderloin. No, you're fine. We're not cooking you. You're gonna go here. All right, let's get our tenderloin. And we're gonna do a little bit of, we're gonna put in this little dish. First thing we need to do is we need to cut it into a couple different pieces. The reason we're gonna do this is just so that we get a little bit more coverage on the meat when we put the seasonings on it. If I can open this. Uh-oh. There we go. Now this is about 1.5 pounds tenderloin. The recipe calls to cut into 3 pieces. This one is already, so you can see we have this little small piece, and then we have this bigger piece. I think I'm just going to cut this bigger piece in half-ish, maybe. Yeah, because that'll be about the same size. I don't know. There we go. All right, so we'll just cut this in half, like so. We'll put each of these in here, and now we're going to make our rub. So this is going to be equal parts salt, cumin, and chili powder. One sec, let me wash my hands because, I just touched raw pork. We can't do that. Oh no, the soap is facing away from me. All right. Ah! Oh my goodness. Wow. That was disappointing. All right, that's all done. Let's get our raw pork thing out of the way. Put that there because we'll be back. All right, I'm gonna mix the spices together in a little bowl. Then we'll rub them all over. Don't drop anything. I told myself not to drop anything. What did I just do? I dropped something. So disappointing. All right. Let's get our teaspoon measurement. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix all of these seasonings together. Let me make sure. I think it's 2 teaspoons of each. Yep, 2 teaspoons of each. We're going to rub this all over the meat, and then we're going to actually let it sit for 15 minutes. And the reason we're doing this is we're essentially doing something called a dry brine. A lot of times when people are cooking pork, what they will do is they'll let it soak in some type of salt solution, and that's to help. Basically what happens is when the pork is surrounded by a salt solution, because of chemistry, the salt solution wants to reach an equilibrium. All right, one sec. This is going to be complicated. As you can tell, I have to switch. Chili powders, we're out. All right, that was 1 teaspoon. Let me open up the new one. As I was saying, when there is a salt solution surrounding the meat, what happens is the salt wants to make an equilibrium with the non-salty part. And so in that case, it draws the salt into the pork. Obviously, we are not soaking our pork in a solution, but what we're going to do is we're going to cover it in this salt spice solution. And what's going to happen is the salt is initially going to draw out some of the moisture from the meat. It's going to help the salt dissolve. Then once the salt's dissolved, we have like this kind of pseudo brine that's surrounding the meat. And we're going to get that slight reaction where the brine is then going to be pulled back into the meat as the whole thing tries to reach an equilibrium. It's also going to help because it'll make the spices a little bit more tacky and not so dry, which will be great because when we go to sear this, if it was really tacky, or if it was not tacky, if it was all crumbly, it's going to stay on the pan. We don't want that. We want it on the meat. All right, I'm going to say a little bit more pepper. It's supposed to be a half teaspoon. A half teaspoon from a grinder is very hard to use. I was going to use pre-ground pepper, but I opened it up and it was empty, so that's kind of sad. So we do this. This is technically probably a better pepper spice because it's fresh. All right, we'll put this over here. Mixy, mixy, mixy. Let's see. Oh, anyone in the chat? I'll be right back. No, that's okay. All right, there's our nice seasonings. Now we're going to put it on the pork. Put this over here. And sprinkle! Whee! And now we get messy. Now we have to get this all over the pork. So we're gonna rubby, massage it, make it feel good, make it feel happy, make it feel like it's part of the team, the Caleb Eats team. Oh! All right, this is rubby. All right, there's 2. All right, let's get this one going. Cool. I probably should have used a bigger container, not gonna lie, but it's okay. We do what we gotta do with what we gotta do. All right, those are starting to look good. As you can see, it's nice and rubbed all over with the seasoning. We do have a lot over here though. We gotta mix that in there. Mix it. Get it all rubbed in. Okay, now we'll go this one. Rub it all in. Now the interesting thing, as you'll see with this recipe as we keep going through it, is they use a lot of the same flavor profiles with a lot of this, with the 2 different components being the pork and the salad. So the first step of the salad is actually to cook down, toast some chili powder. And then right at the very last, the last step of this is to use the same ingredients that go into the salad to make a little sauce for the pork. All right, I'm going to say these are good. They look nicely covered. I'm going to wash my hands again, get rid of any potential porky germs. We don't want any porky germs. And now my soap is exactly where I want it. Perfect. Okay, there we go. All right, we're going to let this sit for 15 minutes. So that'll put us at about 5:45. Put it over here. And now we're going to start on the melons. So we're going right into melon season. So that's, hopefully there's going to be some good melons. Couple of things when you are picking out a watermelon or a cantaloupe. Those are the 2 we're using today. Both you want them to be really heavy. The reason for that is that if they're nice and heavy, that means there's a lot of water content in them. The more water content, hopefully, the better they taste. We'll use this kind of board. Let's use a bigger one. And then each of them you want to have nice and heavy. And then each of these melons has a different extra step you can take. For a watermelon, you want to knock on it I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear it. But you want a nice resounding sound. If it doesn't really do anything, probably not super ripe. You can also do something with the patch where it's supposed to be creamy. The issue is that this one has one here and here. So I don't know what to do with that. And then cantaloupe. With a cantaloupe, typically you want it to be nice and heavy. And then you also want it to smell good. So this is where the stem was. This is where the flower was. If you smell here, it should smell like cantaloupe. And this one does. Not going to lie, this one's a little scary. There's some darker patches that I don't like. But it was the only one that looked good at Whole Foods. So it's the one I got. Hopefully it works. All right, we're going to we need 2 cups of each of these. I'm going to put them in a big bowl like this. Whee! And where's my 2-cup measurement? 2-cup measurement right here. So we're going to be cubing these. Make sure. Oh, I'm too big. There we go. All right. Let's see. Ooh, that looks good. We do have to get rid of the seeds, so I got my seed bowl and my seed spoon. This is technically a grapefruit spoon. I don't know if you can see, but there's some nice ridges right along the tip. And for grapefruits, it's great because it helps get through that membrane. For everything else, I mean, it's just an easy way to get anything. Ooh, there we go. Our oven is ready. I'll take that out. Whee! Ah! I'm splattering myself with cantaloupe juice. Whee! There we go. There's 1/2. I'm hoping that I used the entire, both these melons. We'll see. We'll see indeed. Okay, there's that. That one came out nice and good. And the nice thing with the watermelon is that we don't have to worry about the seeds because, well, I mean, you could technically. I'm not going to because I'm not going to try to seed it. I guess technically if you got like a seedless, that would work. I have no idea what type of watermelon I got, not going to lie. Oh, all right. Let's cut this. Now, typically I would do like some type of angled slice. Since I'm just going to cube this, I don't care. We're going straight up and down. Ooh, and here's the taste. Always got to taste your food, or I think you got to taste your food. Let's see. Okay, that's a good one. Nice. All right, now the fun begins. Whee! Yes, I'm sure this is what each of you guys knew you were signing up for. Watching me butcher a cantaloupe. We might only need 1/2. Like I said, that's what that measurement is there for, is to see how much cantaloupe we get. Because we do need 2 cups. But, oh, that was sad. There's more fruit there. There we go. I'm just going to eat this. Delicious. Whee! Perfect. There's that. And one more. All right. And now we cube it. We measure it. We see if we need more. I think we might not, though. I think this is probably going to be 2 cups. I'm going to eat more. Typically, whenever I have scraps and I'm cooking, I'm just going to eat these scraps. All right. It doesn't say what size to do my cuts. So I am just going to do bite size-ish, maybe. All right, we'll do that. I'm going, I think, not quite an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch is what I'm guessing I'm doing. There's that. Here we go. Next one. All right. Wee, wee, wee. Oh my goodness. This is definitely a ripe cantaloupe. It's like squishing in my hands, which is good, but it's kind of messy. And ironically, I don't really like messy. There we go. Yeah, this is perfect. We'll do one more, and then we are going to call that 2 cups. Perfect. All right, so that means we have a whole 1/2 of a cantaloupe. The way we store it is we have these little handy-dandy thingamadies. I have no idea what these are officially called. I call them thingamadies, obviously. Technical term. But it just goes around the cantaloupe like so. This one's a little small or a little big for the cantaloupe. Sometimes we'll put a rubber band around it, but it just helps keep the melon, the cut face, protected. This is going to go in my fridge. I'm going to vanish from view. And just like that, I'm back. All right, so we have 2 cups of cantaloupe. We do the same thing with watermelon. Wow, this. Whoa. I did not expect this. We have a yellow watermelon. I thought this was a red one. That's okay. That's going to be, it should taste the same. I did not expect yellow. Oh, that's funny. We got a yellow watermelon the other day, and it was a little disappointing. So hopefully this one's not disappointing. Let's take a bite. Let's take a bite and see. That's a big bite. All right, we're going to eat half that. Whee! Better than the one we had last week. It's not a great watermelon, but it does have decent flavor. Like, has okay flavor. I don't know. Watermelon is such a hard flavor to really pin down because either it's like really really good, or it's like this isn't the best, but I don't really know why. Perfect. There's that. Oh, one sec. I see it. I see a comment. It's going well. It's going well. Thank you for the. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Those are some big old chunks. I don't know. Is that too big? I'm gonna leave it. Looks like this is gonna add up to 2 cups real fast. So we might only need some of these, like half of this slice. Whee! Perfect. There's that. And all right, so cantaloupe I did into 2 pieces. This I'm gonna do into 3. There we go. And wee, 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 wee. I don't know why I'm doing that. Look at that. We're basically at 2 cups already. I might do this one. Then we'll leave. I don't know what to do with that. We'll put that there. All right. Cut that in half. And there's that. Perfect. All right, so melon's done. Now we have the cucumber to do. But before we do that, okay, some of these are ridiculous. That's ridiculous. We're cutting that up. Should have listened to myself. Some of these are just massive. All right. Look at this. Apparently, I don't know how to do even cuts. We'll call that. We'll do a triangle cut on that one. One more. All right. Perfect. That looks about even. All right. So, like I said, we do have about half this cucumber to cut up. Before I do that, though, I'm going to get a pan hot because we do need to toast or bloom 3 teaspoons of chili powder. And you're probably saying, Caleb, why are you using such a big pan for 3 teaspoons of chili powder? Because when we start cooking the pork, we're going to use, did I put the chili powder away? No, it's right there. Okay, good. Whew. Like I said, when we start cooking the pork, we're going to use the same pan. That's what the recipe says to do. So, I'll put the half teaspoon measurement on the pork thing. That's not going to work. Y'all can't see it, but Melanie is, my sister, is navigating carefully around everything before she leaves. I appreciate that. All right. Like I said, we're going to put, so this is a half teaspoon because it fits nicely in the thingy. We're going to sprinkle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. We're going to toast that. The reason we are cooking that is when you cook a spice, it helps accentuate a lot of the smoke, especially with chili powder. It helps accentuate the smoky flavor, and it gets rid of some of the more bitter flavors. So in the pork, we're going to have all that spice, all that heat, and then the chili powder that's going to go into the salad hopefully will be a little bit sweeter. Not sweeter, smokier. So it's not going to have as much kick, but it's still going to have enough similarity to the pork that, there'll be that connection. This looks terrible. We'll deal with this later. I'm going to put this here because we'll cut that up, use it. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but we'll figure it out. All right. All right. Well, this is toasting. We're going to, do I want that knife? We're going to chop up half of our cucumber. Now, this quarter of the cucumber has gone mushy. So I'm just going to get rid of it. It's a little weird. I don't trust it. But that means we're going to use that half. And then again, since this is just bite-sized chunks, cut it in half. Get rid of these melon seeds that are in my way. Then I'm just going to do quarters. Kind of big quarters, I'm thinking. Just like that. Just like that. So this salad is going to be predominantly melon with some nice highlights of cucumber. There we go, perfect. All right, we got one more half. And then I'm going to shake the chili powder. Right, it's just starting to get fragrant. Perfect. The recipe says to bloom it until it's fragrant, which is kind of hard to tell because, chili powder has a pretty strong fragrance. It's raw. All right, so there's all of that. Delicious. Delicious, delicious. Oh, we have limes. So we need some lime zest. We need some lime juice. Oh, I forgot to get the juicer. Un momento, por favor. I'm back. Gotta get the juicer because we need 2 tablespoons of lime juice. I think that's going to be about 2 limes. We also need some lime zest. Now, I've seen people use, what are they? We don't have one. We used to have one. Little hand graters. I have never found those to work. But I have found that a box grater works perfectly to zest. So we're going to do some zesting. We technically need 2 teaspoons. We only need 1 teaspoon for the half. Oh, I should check the chili powder. How we doing? We're going to give it a little bit of a stir. All right. I think we're almost good on that. Oh, and the pork is almost ready too. It's almost been 15 minutes already. It's crazy. All right. This might be a teaspoon once I get done grating this bad boy up. Oh, I just saw juice fly everywhere. That's disappointing. Yeah, that looks like a teaspoon. All right, perfect. So I believe it is 2 teaspoons. One. Yep, we do that. Transfer to a large bowl. All right. Turn off the heat real quick. We are gonna pour this into and on top of. Actually, I'm not gonna pour it on the salad yet. I'm gonna pour it into a bowl, and then we're gonna use that bowl to assemble the rest. That way, everything can, dissolve nicely before it goes into the salad. This is the wrong utensil. I need myself a spatula. All right. And don't worry, even though we will be cooking the pork, I'm going to move the camera when I cook the pork so that you guys are not stuck over there. I'm doing stuff over here because that would be boring. You want to see where the cooking is. Even though I know you like seeing my pretty face. The food's more important. All right. We'll leave that there. We got our chili here. We'll take our lime zest. Oh, perfect. That is definitely a teaspoon. Take our lime zest. Can you see that? Uh-oh. I'm blocking things. There you go. All right. Lime zest. That's a lot of lime zest. That might be more than a teaspoon. Yeah, we'll just use it. Little extra lime. That's not going to hurt anyone. All right. And then we need our lime juice. Hopefully, this lime will give me 2 tablespoons. We shall see. Whee! Now, one thing I did not do, that you've probably heard people talk about doing, is I did not roll out my lime. I could have done that. The reason I didn't, one, I forgot. But also, two, because I was zesting it, I was distracted. But the reason people say to do that is because as you're rolling out the lime, it does help with, well, the tablespoon measurement's missing. That's okay. It does help break up a lot of the little the little pods of the lime, which then makes them more juicy. So that was 2 tablespoons. That's perfect. We need 2 tablespoons of honey now. And then I think it's like a teaspoon of salt. And then we stir. Yes. And then we need some mint. So 1. I will say, honey is probably like one of my least favorite things to measure out in such a tiny little tablespoon measurement because I feel like you lose so much. But that's what the spatula is for. It's my Yoda spatula. I say mine, but it's all of ours. Alright, there's that. In theory, also, the lime juice will help break up the stickiness of this honey, which will be great because right now it's really sticky. Alright, that's that. A little bit of salt. I think it's a teaspoon. Let's confirm. Yes, 1 teaspoon of salt. Teaspoon measurement, salt. Wee. Perfect. I think the subtitle of this is going to be wee. I've said that far too many times. Ah, there we go. There we go. Look at that. Wow, that is a dark. Can you see that? No, you can't. Bring it closer. Look at that. That is a very, very dark sauce. Cool. All right, we are going to start. We're going to get, actually, I will need this one more time, so we'll leave that there. We'll leave this here. Let's cook some pork. So that means you guys get to fly. Well, actually, we'll wait till the pan's hot. Then you guys will fly. All right, get the oil. I'm back. While we wait for that to get hot, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to chop up some mint, because we need 5 tablespoons of mint, which is a lot of mint. But it'll be delicious. We're going to call this 5 tablespoons. So we're going to call that a tablespoon. We'll leave that over there. Now, when people are cutting up herbs, if it's not this crazy mess like what I'm created here, you can make a nice little roll. I obviously have not made a nice little roll. We have made a big mess. So we're just going to try to hold it in place. And we're going to try to chop. Wee. Just like so. Right, one more cut across the way. And then this mint's going to go in with the salad. So make sure you guys can see that salad. Okay, good. Perfect, that's in. Oh, the smell of mint's good. Forgot how good mint's going to smell. Alright, there's that. We're going to chop up this extra bit real quick, just because we will need it later. This is what like I was saying, we're going to make a sauce for the pork, and this mint is going to go into that sauce. So that was the really interesting thing as I was reading through this recipe, is just noticing how they use a lot of the same flavor profiles in the different elements of the dish. All right, I think we're done with the cutting board. I do have to juice one more lime. We'll leave it. But in the meantime, I think, let's see, what do? Do we stir? We toss everything together. Perfect. All right. We're going to move that over there. We're going to mix this in, like so. Get the spatula, get all that good stuff in there. And I'm going to move you guys so you get a better angle of what this looks like before I start stirring it up. All right, put that over there. All right, we're ready to fly. Whee! All right, now, pardon me while I get this angle right. One more. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. We're going to stir this up. Stir it up. That chili powder has a lot more coloration power than I expected. Look at that, though. Look at that. That's looking pretty good, if I don't say so myself. All right. This is going to go in the fridge to rest while we cook everything else. Actually, I'll leave that in there because we'll want to stir that up in a second. All right, this is going in the fridge. You guys get to look at my countertop and hear me fumbling around the fridge. And now let's cook some pork. So again, we're gonna fly. Oh, I didn't throw it. Still figuring out how to use this gimbal. Whee! Oh, oh, oh. There it is. All right, perfect. Yeah, that feels good. Let me get the pork. So as I said in the very, very beginning, we're gonna start by searing this. Then we're gonna put it in the oven. The reason that we sear it, a lot of people think that you sear meat to lock in moisture, and that's actually not true. Searing the meat does nothing to the moisture level. However, what it does do is it helps build flavor. So there's something called a Maillard reaction. That's where the amino acids, the sugars of whatever is being caramelized, they start to caramelize, and that builds some tasty flavor. So that feels nice and hot. We're gonna pick this up. I'm gonna use tongs so I don't have to wash my hands all the time. Here we go. Let's see. Oh yeah, we got a nice sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle. All right, so we're gonna just caramelize these on each side. Then into the oven will go for about 10 minutes. While it's in the oven, we will make the sauce. And then we'll be good to go. So we're just gonna watch this cook. They say don't watch water boil. They say nothing about tenderloins cooking. All right, I'll flip those over in a second. I just wanted to get a nice caramelization. While I'm doing that, while you're watching, you got to tell me if something happens because you're watching the pork. I'm not. While that's going on, though, I'm gonna juice this other lime. I figure you guys have seen me juice one lime. You don't need to see me juice another lime. You can hear it though. Oh, I made a mistake. I chopped the lime in half before zesting it. Rookie error. All right, I think this is looking pretty good. What do you guys think? Any comments on how it's doing over there? All right, let's take a gander. Let's flip them over. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's looking glorious. Absolutely glorious. Perfect. All right, so we just have to do that on each of the sides, and then we'll be good to go. Put it in the oven. All right, lime has been juiced. I'm going to try to zest a juiced lime wedge. I don't think it's going to work. No. Oh, maybe a little. Maybe a little. I'll flip those. So that basically we're trying to get all the sides. So in 1 second, come on. Hey, 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 hey. No. There we go. Oh my goodness. All right. We'll put that over there. He's a nice fat boy. He can stand his side. You ever seen him? Oh, look at that. Look how well you're standing up. It's just that one that's not standing up. Nice and seared on this side. The fun side is going to be the ends. Ooh, look at you stay. Uh-oh. Is it going to fall? Is it going to fall? Don't fall. Yeah, oh, yeah, there we got a sizzle. Sear. No. Okay. We'll put this bad boy over. Nice. Flip this bad boy over. Nice. All right, and then once we get them in, really all we're going to be looking for is for these to get to 135 degrees of an internal temperature. The reason that, like if you're used to cooking pork, used to cooking chicken, this is the easiest way to get these ends. If you're used to cooking chicken, you probably are thinking, 135, we should be doing 160 or 165. The reason we are not is that the salmonella risk is not really an issue with pork. And actually, I was watching a Good Eats about pork the other day. And with the current practices of, that almost didn't work, of how porks are fed, what they're fed, how they get their food, etc., we really don't have to worry about a lot of quasi bacterias with the pork, which lets us eat it at a slightly lower internal temperature, slightly less well cooked, which is great. All right, those look good. I'm gonna get a rest, and this is going in the oven. I'm gonna move you guys before I put it in the oven. No, we're going. We're flying. We're flying. Oh, again. One of these days, I will. Uh-oh. There we go. There we go. Uh-oh. Still learning how to use this gimbal. There it is. Perfect. All right, these are going in the oven, though. Here we go. We'll leave those in. Wow! 9 minutes. It's perfect. 6:04-ish. Let's make that sauce for the pork. We need 1 more tablespoon of honey. I don't think we need any more salt, though. We're going to check the recipe. Un momento, por favor. Teaspoon of lime zest, tablespoon of juice, tablespoon of honey, and a tablespoon of mint. Perfect. Alrighty. We're going to put this in a little bowl. Like so. Move that honey. I'm going to measure this. That looks like a lot. This might be more than a tablespoon. It is. Yeah. My mom just said it's starting to smell pretty good in here. That's good. That's the sign of hopefully a good recipe. All right, we don't need this knife. I am losing organizational structure in this kitchen. All right, we're gonna put that over there. I'm gonna save that for later. We are done with. Look at this. Look at this. Does that look like a teaspoon of zest? No. I failed. I had one job. One job. Get a teaspoon of zest. What did I do? I chopped the lime in half before zesting it. You can't zest a lime once it's chopped in half. All right. Well, we'll just have to deal with my error. All right. There's that. We'll put the mint in with the lime. Instead of lime with the coconut, it's lime with the mint. You put the lime with the mint and call it all good. All right. Tablespoon measurement is over. Oh, it's not touching anything raw. Perfect. All right. Last tablespoon of honey. You know what? I'm just going to eyeball it. Whee! Looks good. All right. Honey is done. Now, not going to lie. Once the pork comes out, it has to rest for 10 minutes. I have made everything else. So we have 2 options. 1, we just talk for 10 minutes while the pork rests. Or 2, we end the stream early, and you get to see the finalized dish on Caleb Eats Instagram, which you'll be able to see anyway. So the real question is, do you want to hang around and just talk for about 10 minutes, starting in a couple minutes? Or do we want to end the stream early once the pork comes out? Because I want you to see the pork. It is up to you. Let me know in the chat. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to start cleaning up a little. One of the nice things, or one of the things I always like to do as I'm cooking, is clean. Because look at all this. Look at all these dishes I've made. We've made so many dishes. We have time now, so we get to put dishes away. We get to clean some dishes, and all we're doing is waiting for the pork to cook. Oh, I hear something. The pork is making noises. We're going to put this away. Anyone commenting on if we should keep going? No, no one's commenting. No one's commenting on if we should keep going. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Get our thermometer. I will say, I, for a long time, did not use a thermometer. Started using it recently. It's great. Absolutely great. Especially for, you know, your various meat products that you need to make sure they get to the right temperature. Because my complaint always with them was, oh my goodness gracious, I left a burner on. Trying to burn the house down. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. Oh. Anyway, what was I? Oh yes, my biggest complaint with these thermometers for a very long time was that whenever you poke a piece of meat that is, when you take it out, all this juices come out, and I don't like that. I feel like it felt bad. I felt bad for the meat that I had poked that was now losing all of its juices. So, for a long time, I did not use these thermometers. And then I don't know what the change was. Oh, when you see me, you probably just see my head. I started using it, and it's great. So we'll be using it in 5 minutes. to see if the pork has reached the critical temperature of 135 degrees Celsius. Oh, and I'm off. Can't see me anymore. I'm back. All right. Anyone got any questions? Let me know in the chat, because I mean, right now we're just waiting. We're waiting for that pork to cook. Let me make sure I didn't miss any steps. I'll bring the cookbook into view. All right, we did that. We made the salad. It's refrigerating. Perfect. We cooked the meat. We're gonna let it rest. Perfect. Yeah, we're just waiting for the pork to cook. And at that point, once you guys get to see the caramelized perfection that hopefully is that pork, that's gonna be the end of the stream, because that's gonna be 10 minutes of the pork resting. That's gonna be really boring to watch. I'm sure you're just being, it's like watching paint dry. You don't want to be watching pork rest. That's boring. So we're gonna cut the stream at that point. But until then, we got 4 minutes. Any questions? Let me know down below. Let me know in the comments. My goal is to answer every single comment. So if you have a comment, put it down below. And then you're probably wondering, what are we gonna do with this sauce? So since we're gonna cut the stream once the pork comes out, I'll walk you through the final step. Once the pork has been cooked, we're gonna let it rest. Then we're gonna put it on a cutting board. We're gonna cut it lengthwise. I think lengthwise. Let's confirm. Lengthwise, yes. Lengthwise, and then crosswise. So we're gonna cut it into bite-sized pieces, a little bit bigger than what I did for the melon, I'm guessing, probably inch-ish, inch-ish pieces. Then we're going to drizzle this lovely sauce all over the pork. Then we're gonna get the salad out of the refrigerator. We'll use a slotted spoon so that the juices stay behind. Then, finally, this is the final step. It's great. So you put your salad, put a little bit of pork on top, with some queso fresco to sprinkle on top. Then we're going to take a little bit of that sauce that the salad's marinating in. We're going to drizzle that on top. Oh, should be good. Should be good. We're going to smell this. Yeah, see? Not going to lie, that smells, I bet, actually, now that I think about it, what we basically made here, this is essentially limeade. Mint limeade. No wonder it smells so good. I took a sniff and it was like, it smells like summer. All right. We have 2 more minutes until the pork comes out. Oh, and I have more dishes to put away. Here's the metal tablespoon measurement I was looking for earlier. Let's see. See, the one thing with this countertop is it looks beautiful, but it hides everything. There are lots of crummies right there, all over that countertop. So we're going to wipe this down. Again, just trying to find things to do so that we are not just sitting around waiting for that pork to cook. Because anything that we don't do now, we got to do later. And I am much a fan of doing things now. I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said, don't do something tomorrow when you can do it today. I mean, I'm not going to leave this till tomorrow. that would be scary. But it's the same principle, doing it now as opposed to doing it later. We got 1 more minute. That's exciting. We'll see what this pork looks like. I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear it. It's sizzling like crazy right now. And actually, you know what? When I check it, I'm going to move the camera over there with me so that you can see exactly what I'm seeing as I open the oven. We got 45 seconds, give or take, because I don't know when it turned to 6:03, but it just did. Perfect. Any more comments? No more comments? Avanish, I appreciate your comment. I don't know if you're still on this. I don't even know if anyone's still on this. I have no way of knowing. I'm sure there's a way I can check over my computer to know how many viewers I have, but I don't know how to do that. So we'll figure that out later. All right. I'm going to call it like 10 seconds. So one thing very important. Since we have that pan in there, I don't want to reach in there with a pan. We have our lovely little pan holder. So I'm going to put this onto the pan handle so that I can grab it successfully. We have this lovely little thing. That's going to be there. All right, but first, are you guys ready? Are you ready? We're going to go for it. Here we go. We're grabbing the camera. All right. Ooh. Oh, I see smoke. Whee! Look at that. Look at that. Oh, there it is. There it is. Look at that sizzling, sizzling. All right, I gotta put you down so I can test the temperature. Close the oven. We're going over here. Wow, there's the rest of my house. Yes. No. All right. Perfect. Let's take the temperature, the thickest part of this bad boy. Uh oh. Uh oh. We're at 110. We're at 112. They're not ready. They gotta go back in. All right. Well, at this point, I think we're gonna call the stream. All I'm gonna do is wait for the pork to cook. It's not gonna be very exciting. So, if you want to see the finalized dish, check out Kayla Beats Instagram, Kayla Beats TikTok. I have a new TikTok account, so check that out too. And until next week, keep eating food.